calm demeanor now visibly strained, turned to Joanna, his gelatinous form trembling. You call this fine? That creature could flatten us with a single swipe. Joanna chuckled, clearly unbothered. Nah, she's pretty chill. Just respect her space. Honestly, the bears aren't even the most dangerous thing here. The delegation collectively froze at this statement. Brixie's mandibles clicked nervously. What could possibly be worse than that? Joanna's cheerful grin widened. Oh, lots of stuff. We've got mountain lions, venomous snakes, and of course, the mosquitoes. Those little guys can really ruin your day. Little guys, growled the quivering Groll, clutching his trembling appendages. You mean there are smaller things we should fear? Joanna nodded. Oh yeah, some carry diseases. Others just make you itchy, but they're everywhere in summer. The delegation was stunned into silence. It was one thing to hear about Earth's dangers in reports, but experiencing it firsthand painted a stark picture. Earth wasn't just a dangerous planet, it was a live asterisk in ways they couldn't comprehend, teeming with life that seemed intent on constant motion, conflict, and survival. And yet, the humans not only endured it, but had built sprawling cities and cultures atop this chaos. As the delegation prepared to leave, Ambassador Thal addressed Joanna with as much composure as he could muster. Your resilience is astonishing. Earth is truly as formidable as the data suggested, perhaps even more so. How do you survive? Joanna tilted her head, her expression a mixture of amusement and pride. We just do. It's no. Sure, it's got its quirks, but you get used to it. And honestly, it makes us stronger. The delegation boarded their ship in silence, the weight of their experience heavy in the air. Once aboard, Brixie finally spoke, his voice shaking. We need to reconsider everything about our approach to humans. They don't just survive on a death world, they thrive. They are forged by chaos itself. Ambassador Thal nodded. Indeed. Earth's classification is accurate, but it doesn't fully capture what it means to be human. They are not merely a product of their environment, they are its master. As the ship departed, Joanna waved goodbye, her smile bright against the backdrop of the stormy skies. The delegation knew one thing for certain: humanity was far more formidable than anyone in the galaxy had ever imagined. The question now was not whether the humans were a threat, it was whether the galaxy was ready to coexist with a species capable of thriving where others would perish. And somewhere, deep within the halls of the Galactic Consortium, the whispers began anew. What else are they hiding? The delegation's transport glided back to the relative safety of their temporary base, a carefully constructed habitat module designed to withstand Earth's so-called mild weather. The atmosphere inside the craft was tense, each delegate visibly shaken by the events of the day. Ambassador Thal's gelatinous form quivered slightly, a sign of stress that his species rarely exhibited in public. This planet defies logic, Brixie muttered, his antennae twitching in erratic patterns. The Denari scientist was meticulously typing notes into his portable analysis device, though his usually steady claws fumbled more than once. Every assumption about survivability, about evolution, about rational existence, none of it applies here. The humans don't just endure this madness. They thrive. Thrive? Growl's voice was a low hiss as he leaned back against the transport's wall, clearly still recovering from his earlier fainting spell. That's not thriving. That's lunacy. They smile while staring into the jaws of certain death. Who does that? Joanna, sitting across from them, tilted her head in confusion. You're really overthinking this, she said with a bright grin. Her casual demeanor only added to the delegation's collective bewilderment. Life here is just about figuring out how to deal with the hand you dealt. Sure, sometimes that hand is, I don't know, hurricanes or a bear deciding to visit your campsite. But it's all manageable. Thal's many eyes focused on her, his tone carefully measured. Ambassador Joanna, he began, his voice rippling softly through the translation nodes. You speak of managing these conditions as if it is a skill your species has perfected. But I must ask, does your kind not consider the overwhelming danger you face? These storms, these creatures, this chaos. It is antithetical to survival as we understand it. Jonah's grin faltered slightly, but she shrugged. Danger? Sure, there's some of that. But isn't that the point of life? You face the hard stuff, and you come out the other side stronger for it. And besides, we've got tools, technology, each other. It's not like we're just out here alone. Her words hung in the air, and for a moment, no one replied. The delegation's silence wasn't just from shock, it was from the dawning realization that perhaps they were the ones who had misunderstood. To the humans, Earth's challenges weren't horrors to be avoided, but obstacles to overcome. And it was that mindset that seemed to define their entire species. As the transport landed at the base, the delegation disembarked, their unease growing with each passing moment. The habitat module was perched on the edge of a sprawling forest, its reinforced walls glinting faintly under the dim light of a cloudy sky. The humans had assured them the area was secure, but after the day's events, none of the delegates felt particularly reassured. Inside, the group gathered in the central chamber. It was a modest room, equipped with translation devices and holoscreens displaying Earth's topography, climate patterns, and detailed notes about its wildlife. The data streams scrolled by, each line more unsettling than the last. Toxic flora, carnivorous fauna, unpredictable seismic activity. It was as if Earth's every aspect had been designed to test the limits of survival. The question we must address now, Thor began, his voice cutting through the tense silence, is not merely how humans survive here, but what their survival says about them. They are a product of this environment, shaped by its endless dangers. This cannot be ignored. Growl, still clutching a steaming cup of Earth's peculiar beverage called tea, nodded grimly. We've dealt with resilient species before. But this is something else entirely. Their adaptability is unnatural. Not unnatural, Brixie corrected, his mandibles clicking as he spoke. Unique, evolutionarily unprecedented, perhaps, but entirely natural. Earth's conditions demand adaptability. The humans' physiology, their psychology, it's all a reflection of their environment. They are what this world made them. Jonah entered the room carrying a tray of snacks, oblivious to the heavy discussion taking place. I brought some snacks, she announced cheerfully, setting the tray down. Cookies, fruit, a few local treats. Thought you might like to try some Earth food. The delegates stared at the tray with varying degrees of suspicion. Brixie leaned closer to inspect a round, golden object. What is this? He asked cautiously. That's a cookie, Jonah replied. It's sweet, made with sugar, flour, butter, and chocolate. Perfect for stress. Growl's scales rippled nervously. Stress? Is it? Safe? Jonah laughed, though the sound seemed to make the delegation more uneasy. Of course it's safe. Well, unless you're allergic to chocolate, but I'm guessing you're not. With great hesitation, Growl reached out and took a cookie. He nibbled at it cautiously, his eyes widening slightly. It's pleasant, he admitted, though his tone remained wary. Jonah beamed. City, not everything on Earth is out to get you. The delegates exchanged skeptical glances, but continued to sample the offerings. For a brief moment, the tension eased. But the respite was short-lived. A low rumble echoed through the habitat module, causing the floor to vibrate slightly. Everyone froze. What was that? Growl whispered, his voice trembling. Jonah's smile faltered as she glanced toward the nearest window. Probably just a small tremor, she said, though her tone was less confident now. Earth's tectonic plates move sometimes, nothing to worry about. Thor turned his many eyes toward her, his voice unusually sharp. And if it is something to worry about? Before she could answer, the rumble grew louder, the vibrations more intense. Alarms blared within the habitat module as the holoscreens flashed warnings. Jonah's expression shifted to one of alarm. Okay, maybe it's a bit more than a tremor, she admitted, quickly moving to the control panel. Let me just... The delegation erupted into a flurry of panic, each member shouting over the other in their native tongues. Thor's gelatinous form began to shimmer, a stress response that was impossible to hide. What is happening? Brixie demanded, his claws gripping the edge of a console. Jonah's hands flew over the controls, her calm demeanor now replaced with urgency. It's fine. Probably just a minor quake. These modules are built to handle it. Minor, Growl screeched. The ground is trying to eat us alive. Joanna didn't respond. Her focus was entirely on stabilizing the habitat module, her fingers moving with practiced efficiency. But the delegation could see the strain in her expression, the way her jaw tightened as the tremors intensified. Outside, the forest swayed dangerously, the trees creaking under the force of the quake. Birds erupted from the canopy, their cries adding to the cacophony. Somewhere in the distance, a deep, guttural roar echoed, a sound that sent chills through every delegate. What was that? Brixie whispered, his antennae drooping in fear. Jonah glanced toward the window, her face pale.